Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ Live here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. I am in a great mood tonight. Monday Night Raw, finally a show where from start to finish, I was thoroughly entertained. I was never bored. I had a fun time watching Raw, and I am very excited to discuss tonight's show. Now, not everybody out there enjoyed Raw. There's one guy in particular. His name is JD from New York. He's a YouTuber. He said tonight's Raw was the worst show of 2018. So apparently he is trolling everybody, because I think anyone that criticizes tonight's Raw, I really question your fandom. Are you really a sports entertainment fan? Because tonight's show was everything that is good about WWE. You had storylines develop, and you had the show moving at a pace where you were invested in what was going on. It wasn't dull. There were a few slow moments on the show. There are a few segments that I will be critical of. It was not a perfect show, but at the end of the day, I want to be entertained, and I was very much entertained by this. So send this video to JD from New York. Send this video to anybody that did not like Raw, because I am going to use the best tool to explain why Raw was a great show, and that is reason. I am going to rationally explain why tonight's Raw was great. From start to finish, I will break it down, and I will use 30 years of watching WWE to back up my reasons for why I enjoyed tonight's show. So let's go ahead and start off with the D-Generation X reunion, which kicked off Monday Night Raw. Triple H came out with his suit, actually not a suit, his jacket, looking all badass and whatnot. We had Shawn Michaels come out with the cowboy hat. They cut a promo about the Super Showdown pay-per-view. You had Triple H talking about how they were climbing the mountain for 25 years, but then they hit a landslide at Super Showdown. Master Gordon with a $5 Super Chat donation. He says, "First Raw I was able to watch, and wow, what an awesome show. Happy Thanksgiving from Canada." Happy Thanksgiving to you too. And Big G with a $2 Super Chat donation. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Big G is here. Guess who's back? Back again. Big G is back in the house. Welcome back, Big G. But anyways, back to the promo. So Shawn Michaels said he had the long flight from Australia to Chicago, had a lot of time to think, and he said that he retired out of respect for The Undertaker, but now that respect is gone. So Shawn Michaels, Triple H, they have issued the challenge. Triple H said, "Are you ready?" At Super Showdown DX, they laid down the challenge to face Undertaker and Kane at the event. Shawn Michaels officially coming out of retirement for the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. So I do have a little bit of criticism. By the way, they had new t-shirts, new DX shirts, of course, as you would expect with this reunion. My criticism here, the show was not perfect. My criticism of this segment is that Undertaker should have been the one to make the match official. Shawn Michaels just saying, "We're doing the match," and then later on the show, you have the graphic, "The match is official." To me, that was a little bit lazy. Undertaker should have come out and actually said, "Shawn Michaels, I want you out of retirement at Crown Jewel." I think that that would have been the way to do it better than what WWE did on this show. Just my take on it. Shawn Michaels is back. Overall, I did enjoy the promo. I did think it was well done. Brothers of Destruction versus DX at Crown Jewel. I think it'll be entertaining. I did have my criticism about the match at Super Showdown. We'll see how things go. Eddie Smith with a $5 Super Chat donation. Triple H, HBK, Kurt Angle, Trish, Lita, Paul Heyman. What year is it? That's definitely a valid point about WWE relying too much on the older guys. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, and you really got to let that go. It's a different era now, and WCW made a lot of mistakes. WWE has been making some of those mistakes, but like I said before, I want to be entertained. I just want to turn on the television, watch Raw, and be entertained with the show. So let's go ahead and move on here. Everything else from this point I thought was really good with a few exceptions. So let's talk about Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens. I will no longer be calling Bobby Lashley Bob the Lash because finally WWE turns Bobby Lashley heel. This has been long overdue. Should have been done a long time ago. You had Lio Rush out there on the microphone just talking trash, trying to get the people to chant for Lashley. He was being really obnoxious and over the top. Lashley, Lashley. Of course the crowd was booing. This was perfect. Now, for those of you complaining about this, this is what heel managers do. I know some of you out there are pretty young, but back in the day, you had heel managers and their job was to be annoying. You wanted to see the heel manager get beat up. Lio Rush was out there like a little pipsqueak, and you just want to see somebody knock this guy out. That's what a great manager does. I am very happy that WWE has brought back managers. Managers can be useful in any era of wrestling. It doesn't matter if it's the 1980s or 2018. Lio Rush can be very helpful here as the manager of Bobby Lashley. Ken terminated by Google with a $2 super chat donation. Another good point by Rift. Aaron should book. Well, thank you for that. So to me, Lio Rush out there on the microphone talking during the match, it reminded me very much of Jimmy Hart. I loved it. I thought it was great. And Bobby Lashley is there. He's working the heel in this match. Basically, they flip-flopped. So I'm assuming it's a double turn here. Lashley's a heel and Kevin Owens is a babyface, which is fine because that's what the audience wants anyway. They want to cheer Kevin Owens. They want to boo Bobby Lashley. So go with what the fans want. In this case, WWE is giving the fans what they want. The fans were chanting, "Fight Owens, fight." They were booing Lashley. Lashley was just totally playing up on it. Lashley is doing the flexing. Again, it's like a 1980s throwback. You have the big muscular wrestler with the scrawny little manager talking trash. I love it. If you're an 80s fan of wrestling, this is great. This is a great throwback. I thought it was fantastic. Eddie Smith with a $5 super chat donation. Not complaining, I love this Raw. Love the direction of pretty much every current storyline at the moment. I wanted to see Lashley turn, so WWE gives it to people, and somehow there's still some people out there complaining. I'm not getting that. But if you were a fan of 1980s wrestling, it's a formula that worked. Bobby Heenan, Jimmy Hart, you have that loud, obnoxious manager, and you have the wrestler who's there posing, flexing his muscles. It's just wrestling 101. Has JD from New York never watched 1980s wrestling? Did he start watching in like 2010? I mean, come on now, guys. So Kevin Owens was totally working as a babyface. He did a somersault plancha, which of course is a babyface move to get a pop. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Owens needed the turn himself. I think this was definitely a very good double turn here, if that is in fact what it is, which I'm assuming it is. I know some people might be upset maybe because the Elias and Owens pairing is over already. Probably Virtue is not going to be too happy about it. I'll have to talk to him about that. I'm sure we'll have some discussion on the NoDQ review. But yeah, I think Owens, he needed something. And this could very well be it. He showed a lot of fire in this match. Lashley was doing the sleeper hold, so he was doing the heel work. Owens made the comeback. You had Lio Rush out there on the outside being the distraction, and then Bobby Lashley picked up the victory. And by the way, we did have Owens kick out of that vertical suplex that Lashley does. And then to make sure it was crystal clear who the heel is, after the match, Bobby Lashley went back to the ring and beat up poor Kevin Owens. He slammed Kevin Owens' legs into the ring post. So in case you were still wondering about it, yes, Bobby Lashley is now 100% heel. And I think it is fantastic so far. I am so happy about this. Now, backstage, we had Finn Balor and Bayley cut their promo for their match. And then you had more Owens and Lashley. And I liked it. I mean, this is what I want to see from these guys. And I'm really excited to see this new Bobby Lashley heel character. For the first time since coming back to WWE, I'm actually interested in what's going on with Bobby Lashley. All right, moving on here. Oh, by the way, the Fire Disco Panda with a $2 Super Chat donation. Leo Rush was more like Abraham Washington, to be honest. Well, as long as he doesn't say anything about being like Kobe Bryant in a Colorado hotel room, I think he'll be okay. Sonic says change Lashley's music. Well, the thing is, now that he's a heel, I'm almost okay with the music. I mean, if he went back to the music he had in like 2007, that really would not work as a heel. So I think he's okay with that music. It kind of has a heel vibe to it. I guess people are saying that he has like a Tony Atlas laugh. I mean, I just like it. I think Leo Rush is really entertaining, and I think that they are utilizing him well in this role. So let's move on here. Let's talk about Elias. Oh, by the way, Owens and Lashley, the end of that segment with Lashley backstage with Leo Rush. Leo Rush did the little too sweet to end it with Balor there. I thought that that was great too. Power Packers 90 with a $5 Super Chat donation. Thank you, Power Packers. Best part of Raw was being the Elite dropped during it. Tonight proved why the Indies are outdoing WWE when it comes to simple storytelling. Well, I respectfully disagree with that, but you are definitely welcome to your opinion. By the way, 370 live viewers, so thank you guys for tuning in. Y2 Jericho with a $2 Super Chat donation. Lashley's heel turn was amazing with Rush on the mic. Thank you for that. Jekko Knight with a $10 Super Chat donation. Nia Jax ate my snacks with a hashtag, so there you go. Caleb Jacobs with a $3.91 Super Chat donation for the first time in Bobby Lashley's WWE career being a heel. That is correct. He has never been a heel in WWE. He was a babyface for his entire first run. And here we go. He's finally a heel in WWE. He did have that run in TNA where he was a heel for a while. So he can pull it off. And quite frankly, I think he's better in that role. But that's just me. And now Lashley, you know what? Lashley, I want to see Lashley go on Twitter and praise Donald Trump as part of his character. I think that that would be hilarious because people on Twitter get so worked up. I see so much anger from people. He should just play up on it for storyline purposes. Heel Bobby Lashley should go on Twitter and endorse Donald Trump. That would be amazing. I would love to see that. I don't think WWE is going to go there with the politics, even in a storyline where Lashley's just, playing a character. But, man, talk about the heat that would get. And the social media interactions and all the people buzzing. I think it would be great. He's a heel. Let him go and be a heel. Especially when there's so many people that don't like Trump on Twitter. Just let him endorse Trump. Post pictures of himself with Trump. And say, everyone vote for Donald Trump in 2020. I think Lashley should totally go for it. But I know WWE is not going to go that far with it. They're not going to get political, even for storyline purposes. So we'll see what happens. I think it would be awesome, though. I would be very entertained by it. All right, let's move on here. So we had Elias doing his song. Yes, Vince does think Donald Trump is the face, but think of it. Look at Twitter. Go on Twitter and you can see the comments about Donald Trump. He's very unpopular on Twitter. I'm just saying I think it would be a good way to get people worked up and let Bobby Lashley just be even more of a heel. Trump is a heel to a lot of people on Twitter is what I'm saying basically. So we had Elias do his song, and he brought up the Cubs not being in the World Series, which, again, the cheap heat. But I'm kind of disappointed here because the crowd, of course, got really upset, and it's Chicago. I can see those Chicago fans wanting to outdo Seattle. And I think if Elias had been allowed to just sit there for a while and milk it and listen to the crowd, I think that heat would have been sustainable. I think we would have had a repeat of last week, but unfortunately WWE cut it off right away. We had the Ronda Rousey interruption. I think those fans would have just kept booing. I think it would have been very similar to Seattle, because you know how those Chicago fans are. They would try to outdo Seattle for sure. So that was a little bit of a disappointment, but, you know, I guess WWE wasn't sure how fans would react, but it's Chicago. You know Chicago's gonna get worked up about that. And they want to be the best. Chicago fans want to be the best crowd. They take pride in being the best wrestling crowd. So they want to boo louder than Seattle. Mohammed Hassan with a $7 Canadian Super Chat donation. John Cena plus Roman Reigns equals where wrestling goes to die. Overrated, overhyped, the worst top two baby faces in history. So there you go. Mohammed Hassan, not a fan of John Cena or Roman Reigns. So anyways, Ronda Rousey came out, and that led to the rematch of Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins versus the Riot Squad. My only criticism here, again, I have a few issues with Raw. Why was this a rematch? Riot Squad asked for a rematch, but the thing is, they lost decisively at the pay-per-view. So why are they being given a rematch when Ronda tapped 2 people out? That, to me, doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you're going to do this where you have the match at Super Showdown, then you do the rematch, you have a controversial finish at the pay-per-view. Whatever. I'm nitpicking. It's fine. I think this was the best time to do the angle, though, because Chicago definitely reacted to it. I like the stuff, the sequence with Liv Morgan and Brie Bella. Liv doing a little bop to Brie's nose, and then Liv slapping Brie, and the two of them fighting. I like that they're playing off of what happened a few weeks ago. I thought that was good. We had Ronda Rousey eventually tap out Ruby Riott, so she tapped out Liv and Sarah Logan at the pay-per-view, and this time Ronda was able to tap out Ruby. I feel bad for the Riot Squad, and again, if it was me, I would have done a little bit more of a controversial finish at Super Showdown and maybe do the double submission on this show. I maybe would have done that. And by the way, there was a botch where Brie was supposed to grab Sarah Logan's foot. Only problem is they had a communication error, and basically Sarah Logan tripped herself. If you look at the video clip, it's on NoDQ's Twitter feed. I retweeted the person that posted the video. So there was a pretty significant botch in this match. But other than that, I did enjoy it. I thought Rousey's comeback was really good. I mean, she was on fire in there, and I enjoyed it. So after the match, we had the big celebration, and you could see where this was going, because the Bellas were raising Ronda's hand on all 4 sides. They were just really overdoing it to the point where you knew something was going to happen. And sure enough, the Bella Twins attacked Ronda Rousey. The heel turn is official, and they laid her out. Ronda did briefly make a comeback, but did get laid out, which is good. If Ronda made a comeback and they bailed, I would have been very critical of this. I'm glad that Rousey actually got laid out. So you got to make the heel turn significant. You got to establish Nikki as a threat for the pay-per-view. So Caitlin just left a $5 Super Chat donation. My girls, hate on haters, hashtag Bella Twins. There you go. Thank you for that, Caitlin. And Power Packers 90 with a $2 Super Chat donation. WWE told us a model and mom can destroy Ronda. Well, the thing is, it's 2-on-1. And let's keep in mind, Nikki is a lengthy champion in WWE. She was the longest reigning women's champion. So they can definitely play up on that. The Bellas needed the heel turn because there's already resentment about the Bellas being at Evolution. We all know about the NoDQ.com article that got everybody worked up. And Brie has been the center of controversy as of late with her botches. So you gotta take advantage of it. Vince McMahon's philosophy was always to turn a negative into a positive. The fans don't like the Bellas? You play up on it. They have real light heat. You you take that heat and you use it to your advantage. You turn the Bellas heel, and I know this might be a controversial suggestion, and I'll talk more about this when we do the review, or excuse me, the predictions video for Evolution, but I think Nikki Bella should win the title. I think they should do twin magic, they should cheat, and Nikki should steal the title from Ronda Rousey. Imagine how worked up people would get. JD from New York would just have a heart attack, and all the people that were critical of this show, they would just lose their shit, and I would love it. I would think it would be absolutely hilarious just to see the internet get blown up, because you guys are going to still watch anyways. Get the heel heat. Nikki winning the title would piss people off, and they're still going to watch. Let's get some heel heat. Why not? Let's do something that's going to work people up. I want some buzz. I want to be entertained. Let's shake things up. If they cheat, it doesn't matter. Ronda can lose by being screwed over. If she loses clean, then yeah, that's definitely a questionable decision. But you have the Bellas cheat, twin magic, Nikki Bella wins the title. So you guys got my early prediction for Evolution. At least that's what I want to see. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Ronda's going to beat her, and that's going to be the end of it. But I want to see that happen just to piss people off, just to work up the internet, just to have some entertainment. I want to be entertained. Like I said, my number one priority is being entertained. I want to tune into Raw, tune into WWE, and have a good time. So if they're going to do things to piss off fans, let's do it. Let's shake things up. So I enjoyed this. Definitely the right move. You take the negative, you turn it into a positive, and you go with it. You just naturally let the Bellas be heels. Let them just play up on all the heat they've been getting and just get more heat for them. I like it. I'm all for it. So there you go. All right, next up, we had the mixed tag team match, even though this is not mixed match challenge. I know Mahal Wrestling, this does sound like WCW, but again, it doesn't matter anymore. WWE can do pretty much anything they want. Fans will complain, but they're going to keep watching. So if you're going to do questionable decisions or something that might piss off fans, you might as well go big or go home, as far as I'm concerned. Dead Troll says Raw turned everybody heel, including Aaron. I like how I'm praising Raw and I'm being called a heel. How does that happen? It's like, for all this time, I've been giving Raw a D minus, and people are saying I'm too negative. This is the week where I think WWE hit a home run, and now people are saying that my opinion is crap and I don't know what I'm talking about. So that's the thing about internet fans. This is why Vince can get away with what he does, because there are people out there that cannot be consistent with their opinions. This is the perfect example. 1 week I'm too negative. 1 week I'm too positive. What is it, people? This is why Vince can get away with what he does. You guys have to be consistent. And this isn't a knock on the NoDQ audience, by the way, because you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people on Twitter that were calling me an idiot and saying, how could you like this garbage show? Those are the people I'm directing this to. Not any of you in the chat room. And really, most of you watching this, I think, understand what I'm talking about here. You guys get it. So I'm definitely not knocking you guys that are watching this right now. Unless there's people that normally don't watch this that are watching right now. They might be a little annoyed, but whatever. I'm being logical. Logic is my tool for my words. Next up, so we had the mixed tag team match. Not much to say about it. This was really the first filler segment of the show. I guess, you know, it's done to promote Mixed Match Challenge, so at least it does serve a purpose. And you do have to have, I guess, a little bit of filler just for a little bit of a breathing period. You know, you don't want to do too much in one show. You do want to have a cool-off segment. So this was fine. I don't really mind it. Balor pinned Jinder Mahal, and people are complaining about it. Let's be real here. Mahal, it's pretty much over for him. They had an opportunity with him, but they chose to do the stereotypical heel gimmick, and it bombed. Mahal really could not excel in that. He couldn't really go past being a generic foreigner heel. Maybe if they went in a different direction with Mahal, they let him be himself, maybe it would have worked for him, but You know, his physique changed. That helped him get the push, but he didn't really have much else to bring to the table other than being a generic foreign heel. So there's not much else you can do with Mahal. It's sad that he's a former WWE champion and now he's doing nothing, but it is what it is. I mean, WWE just messed it up with him. They maybe could have done something with him, but I don't know. So next up, we had a backstage segment with the Pac. I just started getting used to calling them the Dogs of War, and now they're being called Strowman's Pack again, the Dog Pack. I don't even know. It's just so lame. Either give them a name or don't give them a name. But anyways, we had more dissension between them. Ziggler was trying to give them some instructions, and then McIntyre's like, he's sick and tired of Ziggler calling the shots, and brought up how Ziggler lost. He was the one that took the fall at the pay-per-view. And then Strowman just yelled at both of them and said, you idiots need to get your act together. So this was fun. I like Strowman yelling at these guys and giving them a hard time. All right, next up here, we had a backstage segment with Baron Corbin and Heath Slater. Corbin announced a battle royal with the winner being entered into the World Cup tournament at the WWE Crown Jewel pay-per-view. This is just not really about Raw, just Crown Jewel. I wish they used the name King of the Ring. I don't know why they went with Crown Jewel instead of King of the Ring. You're going to do a tournament anyways. Why not bring back King of the Ring? It was a cool name. I would have much rather it been King of the Ring than Crown Jewel. But that's my opinion. I think I talked about this already, so enough of that. We had Slater wanting to be part of the Battle Royal, but Corbin was like, no, you're just not any good. And I felt so bad for poor Heath Slater. He's just standing there looking all sad. So next up, we had the Battle Royal, which was extremely entertaining. I love this segment. This was great. This was the best way to bring back the person that came back in this segment. So we had a bunch of indie wrestlers all dressed up in various lucha outfits and over-the-top gimmicks. There was even a guy who even did the claw. This was really fun. This is good sports entertainment. Whoever came up with this segment, this was actually funny. Sometimes the WWE segments are hit or miss. This was fun. And then you had the return of the Conquistador. If you guys remember Edge and Christian doing the Conquistador gimmick back in the day. Little throwback to that. And by the way, who did Edge and Christian align with back then? Just saying. So we had the Conquistador there. Corbin came out, and you could pretty much tell who the Conquistador was by his body type. You know, it was fairly short, kind of bulky. You knew who it was. The match happened, and the Conquistador went to the outside right away. Corbin tossed all the guys out, including the guy that attempted the claw on him. Mike B with a $5 super chat donation. Thank you, Mike B. Cheap plug. Follow Aaron Rift and NoDQ on Twitter. Also hit the thumbs up button for this stream. Aaron rocks. Thank you for that, Mike B. I will definitely be happy to say anything else that you have to say that's not related to cheap plugs. If you want to talk about Raw or anything, go for it. So the Conquistador, Corbin thought he won the match when he threw out everybody, but the Conquistador was never eliminated. He got back in the ring. He started throwing Corbin around with the suplexes. So at that point, you know who it is. Then he hit the angle slam, and then he clotheslined Corbin over the top for the win. He unmasked. Of course, it was Kurt Angle. He did a flip. You know, before he unmasked, he was dancing around, and Fire Disco Panda said his music was hilariously bad. It was great. It was so entertaining. And that's the thing about Kurt Angle. You know he was having the time of his life here, and that's why I enjoyed it so much. Angle was just totally hamming it up, dancing around. He did the flip. It was great. This is when Kurt Angle really excels, when he can be funny and be an ass kicker and just have the whole package of that. Kurt Angle loves that stuff. So it was vintage Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was really funny here. And then Corbin's reaction was great. Great segment. I loved it. Kurt Angle's back. He's officially in the World Cup, or King of the Ring, as I would like to call it. John Cena, by the way, is also in the World Cup tournament. So there you go. I guess there was the report about Cena going back to China, but apparently he will be in Saudi Arabia for the Crown Jewel event. And like I said on the previous video. I expect John Cena to make the occasional appearances, whether it's Crown Jewel, Survivor Series, maybe the Rumble, WrestleMania. I think he'll be at the big events, but he's going to be slowly winding down his career. And that pretty much rules out that he's not retiring, because there were some people thinking maybe the promo at Super Showdown was him unofficially retiring. Ken terminated by Google with a $2 super chat donation. Did you get a Dean Malenko vibe circa WCW? I'm not sure what he means by that. Who did I get a Dean Malenko vibe from? I'm not really understanding that question, but thank you for the super chat donation, Ken terminated by Google. I do appreciate it. All right, so next up, we had the Kurt Angle backstage interview. Dead Troll says Kurt Angle. I'm not sure if that's what Ken terminated by Google was talking about. So Kurt Angle did his backstage promo, and Kurt Angle basically said he's still on vacation and then took off. So that was fun. Kurt Angle did a great job here. I really enjoyed the segment. Oh, when Dean Malenko took off the mask, I guess he's talking about... yeah, I mean, we have seen segments like this before over the years. It's not like it was an entirely new concept, but it's the first time we've seen something like this in a while, and it was a really fun way to bring back Kurt Angle. At first, I thought it was just going to be Corbin throwing out the guys, and then Angle's music hits and he shows up. So they could have done that, but I actually liked this better. I thought that this was a better way to do it. I do remember Dean taking off the mask in WCW with Chris Jericho and that whole thing. And, you know, Chris Jericho has done it. We've seen it various times over the years. I believe the Hardys were actually dressed up as the Conquistadors one time and beat Edge and Christian or something. I'm trying to remember what happened exactly, but it was all a big ruse and Edge and Christian got outsmarted by the Hardys. I'm sure somebody out there remembers it better than I do. All right, so next up we had another one of the low points of the show. We had Ember Moon beating Nia Jax by countout. This was really weird. I don't know where this is going. At first I thought we were going to see another heel turn because after the match, Nia Jax got in the ring and gave her a hug. And I'm like, are they going to do another heel turn? They already did, you know, the Bobby Lashley turn, the Bella's turn. Are they really going to do yet another one? But there was no heel turn here, and I don't know where this is going. It was just really weird and awkward. So this might have been the low point of the show. We'll have to wait and see where it goes next week. We had the Trish Stratus promo, and she talked about Evolution. She brought up the match with Alexa Bliss. This led to Alexa and Mickie James, who was looking really hot, by the way. Mickie was looking great. They traded back insults, and Trish said that Mickie came up short in more ways than one and did the little wink. That was great. Alexa said that Trish sucked. She came to that conclusion. Alexa and Mickie came to the ring, and there was a proposition for a tag team match. So what's going on here? Is it possible that Alexa is still injured and they want to do a tag team match instead so Alexa doesn't have to do as much work? That is certainly possible. Or maybe they just wanted to combine the matches, felt a tag match would be stronger than two singles matches. That leaves more room for other stuff on the show. So I don't mind it. I'm actually cool with this. I think it's an improvement. I'm much more interested in the tag match. Trish and Lita have the history together. It's the old guard versus the new guard. You also get some interaction with Trish and Mickie James because of their history. I'm not surprised that Lita was out there because, I mean, that's the obvious thing. You just combine the two singles matches into tag team matches, and plus it was already reported earlier that Lita was backstage, so it was pretty obvious. Lita came out as the partner. They cleared the ring. They celebrated. I like it. I think it's an improvement over two singles matches. I'm totally fine with it. Caleb Jacobs with a $3 super chat donation. Praise Donald Trump Bobby. So there you go. Caleb Jacobs is all up for Bobby Lashley doing the pro Donald Trump gimmick. I think he got in trouble. He posted something promoting Donald Trump or praising him, and that got some heat online, I think. So again, I think WWE should play up on it, but you know, they really don't like to get into that area with the politics. I mean, they won't even acknowledge that Trump was at WrestleMania 23 with Bobby Lashley. Remember, when WWE showed those clips of WrestleMania 23, you never saw any Donald Trump. They just said, oh, Bobby Lashley defeated Umaga in the main event, one of the main events of WrestleMania 23. They would not even acknowledge Trump being part of it. That's how afraid WWE is of getting any backlash if they even show Donald Trump was a part of a storyline that it's going to alienate viewers. I mean, that's how PC WWE has gotten at this point. And this is despite the fact that Linda McMahon is on Donald Trump's cabinet. They're still like very afraid to even acknowledge Donald Trump on television. So anyways, I wish we could just have wrestling and politics mixed together and people not get overly offended. You guys got to go out there and just enjoy your own life. There's only so many things in life you have control over. Now I'm going on a completely off-topic rant here. But you got to focus on living your life and doing things that make you happy. There are some things in this world that you cannot control. You're one person out of 7 billion people on the planet. You're a statistic. Whether you like it or not, life is only what you make it to be. So it can be insignificant, it can be nothing, or you can go out there and you can enjoy things and do your own thing and try not to get worked up about what other people are doing and what's going on in other places in the world. Just try to be the best person you can be, treat others with kindness, and that's really all you can do, and just focus on living your life. I see people on here that are just totally negative constantly, and they go with the mob mentality and they get offended over every little thing. Sometimes you just gotta let it go and focus on your own life and your own happiness. So that's my little rant there, and that might piss off some people, but you know what? I speak my mind. I'm not afraid to speak my mind, and I think that's why you guys do appreciate the videos, and maybe some of you out there actually respect me for just speaking my mind. But as I say, treat everybody with kindness, treat people how you want to be treated, but focus on your life and being happy, and don't let every little thing out there bother you. All right, so moving on here, Noah with a $1 super chat donation. Thank you for that, Noah. No comment, though. Dead Troll says, I stand with Aaron. And again, if anybody wants to discuss anything about non-wrestling stuff, you can go over to @AaronRift. I would be happy to chat with you guys about anything. Where did I get the shirt, Sonic? Target. Yeah, I did get it from Target. All right, moving on here. Where are we now? Okay, so we had the old school Shield promo, which is cool. I think this is the first one we've seen in a while, maybe since the Shield first reformed a year ago. I don't remember if they did one a year ago, but this was like the old school backstage Shield promo where they picked up the camera and each one of them took turns pointing the camera at themselves. I liked it. Nice little throwback Shield promo. This was cool. I did enjoy it. Next up, we had Chad Gable and Bobby Roode against the Ascension. Thankfully, Roode and Gable won. Hopefully, that's the end of the Ascension push. I mean, I hate to say it because I don't want to see these guys just go back into obscurity, but WWE dropped the ball on them a long time ago, and there's way more upside to Roode and Gable at this point than the Ascension, let's face it. So, of the two teams, who gets pushed, who doesn't get pushed, I go with Gable and Roode to get pushed. So that's my take on it. Glad this happened. There were CM Punk chants, which just goes to show how badly WWE screwed things up with Roode and Gable to the point where the crowd doesn't care about them and they're chanting for CM Punk. Although there were a lot of fans there that were booing the CM Punk chants and trying to drown them out. So it's definitely, with every show, it's happening more and more often where the CM Punk chants, even in Chicago, are getting drowned out. Kurapika07, Jason Jordan is hurt and he has a neck injury that could very well be a career-ending injury, unfortunately. So he's kind of in a bad spot right now, and his future is definitely up in the air. But he is producing work for WWE now. Anyways, after the match, we had the Authors of Pain come out. They bum rushed poor Ascension, and then they took out Rude and Gable. So I'm guessing that's going to be a match at some point, Rude and Gable versus Ascension. That's fine. Then we had an appearance by Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman came out, did his promo. Of course, he had to bring up that Brock Lesnar was sleeping at home in his own bed, and the next day he was going to go to his training camp, and he was going to be a two-sport champion in both WWE and UFC. He brought up how Roman Reigns is so focused in being part of the Shield, and Strowman's focused on his own group, that they're not really focusing on being the individual champion. But Brock Lesnar is. Brock Lesnar is only thinking about himself. Paul Heyman had to make that clear. Usual great promo by Paul Heyman. This was fine. And then we had the main event. We had the Shield versus the Dogs of War, the Pack, the Dog Pack, whatever you want to call them, Strowman's Pack, I don't know. This was a great match. Great Raw main event, and I might have enjoyed this match even more than Super Showdown. I mean, Super Showdown had that really cool spot where Roman Reigns intercepted Strowman's spear with one of his own through the barricade, but this was still a hot match. Shield dominated early. Strowman started yelling at Ziggler and McIntyre, which I always got a good laugh out of. Every time Strowman started yelling at them, I was laughing at that. Roman Reigns did his big dive, that he does over the top rope onto a bunch of people. Strowman actually prevented a hot tag, and then he proceeded to yell more at Dolph Ziggler, and I think he said something that got censored, some kind of profanity. And by the way, I forgot earlier, Ronda Rousey said something to the Bellas that got censored as well. So I kind of like that the wrestlers are using a little bit of profanity. Granted, WWE is censoring it, but it does give it a little bit more of a realistic feel to it. So I like that. I definitely think it's cool when we get some bleeped out comments from these guys. Makes it feel like it's more heated and more intense. Just how I see it. If it's real life, these guys are going to be yelling profanities at each other. I'm wondering what he said, though. I don't know what he said. Anyways, we had McIntyre get in Strowman's face, so things were getting intense between these guys. And then in the end, everybody went to the outside. Reigns hit a spear on Strowman, but then McIntyre pinned Ambrose with the Claymore kick. So yes, it is the 50-50 booking, whatever. Strowman's team wins. And then we had a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end, which is something we don't see that often. They actually did the cliffhanger this time instead of doing it a few weeks ago, where Ambrose took the fall here, and after the match, he walked off on his own without Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. So what's going to happen next with Dean Ambrose? We'll have to wait and see. So that's Raw for tonight. I'm all set with giving my thoughts on the show, and now it's time for the letter grade. So I think Undertaker should have shown up and accepted the challenge rather than WWE just announcing the match right after Shawn Michaels does his promo. To me, that was weak. Word Life with a $5 super chat donation. I'm beating a dead horse here, but instead of Ambrose turning heel, what if the entire Shield turns heel? WWE likes to swerve us sometimes. Not gonna happen. Roman is not turning, guys. You gotta give up on it. It's not happening. So anyways, I did have a few issues. There were a few slow points on the show, but it's a 3-hour show, and there was far less filler than usual. I was entertained. I'm looking forward to next week. I think WWE put together a really strong show to build up both Evolution and Crown Jewel. I'm looking forward to both shows. I love the Bobby Lashley heel turn. You had a really strong main event. So I am going with an A solid A rating. This might be the first A I have given Raw this entire year. So in my opinion, it was the best Raw of 2018. I think it was even better than the night after WrestleMania, which, to be honest, I don't remember a whole lot of it. I remember the crowd was hot as usual. I know Caitlyn was there. She could probably fill me in on what happened, but I thought that this was probably from start to finish the best Raw of the night, of the year, excuse me. So yes, solid A for Raw. I thought it was a great show, and I was very much sports entertained. Can they sustain it? I don't know about that. Chicago definitely helped as well. Hot crowd, made for a really fun atmosphere. But I don't know what they're going to do next week with the follow-up. I think that it's going to be hard to keep that momentum going. You cannot bring back Trish and Lita like that. You cannot bring back Kurt Angle. You did the heel turns already. But we'll see what the follow-up is. If they can keep the follow-up entertaining, then maybe there's some hope. But I'm not going to get my hopes up. I will be very surprised if next week's show is even a B-level show. I think I'm going to go back to giving next week's show a C or lower. I hope not. I really want next week's show to be awesome. So we'll see. Tony Braden with a $2 Super Chat donation. The crowd wasn't as hot because I was absent, LOL. And thank you for that. Eddie Smith with a $5 Super Chat donation. If Dean isn't turning, where do you think they are going with this angle? Well, maybe Dean is turning. See, again, I don't want to get my hopes up. I think Dean Ambrose turning is the right move, but then again, we just had a bunch of heel turns on this show, so now I think it's a little less likely we're going to see any kind of Dean Ambrose heel turn. And it could be this week's show was also finally a reaction to the ratings. The fact that the third hour of Raw did come close to going under 2 million viewers, maybe somebody figured, hey, you know what? We need to hit a home run tonight on Raw. We need to have all hands on deck. Word Life with a $2 Super Chat donation. Nikki Bella is hot when she's a heel. Damn right she is. I say go for it. You know, she's got to go out there and say, you know what? All you guys out there, you have ugly girlfriends and you wish your girlfriends could look like me. She's got to be just playing the total bitchy diva. She's got to do that. Her and Brie, excuse me, they should go out there and just be total bitchy divas, and I think that's the way to go with them. You got to play up on real life, take the negative, turn it into a positive. Spike W says Bellas suck. Dylan Folk says all her milkshakes bring the boys to the yard, bro. The Riff fan NoDQ says I don't want to see the Bellas, period. Well, too bad. You have no say in the matter. You have to sit there and deal with it. So WWE might as well let them go out there and be heels and say, you people are stuck with us whether you like it or not. That is great heel heat. Some of you don't seem to understand, and not necessarily you guys, but just some fans in general, you don't understand what good heel heat is. The heels go out there and they talk trash and they're jerks, and you want to see them get punched in the face. Whatever happened to people just accepting heels for being heels? Have people become so sensitive now that they can't even get into the moment and just enjoy a good heel character, a good villain? Caleb Jacobs with a $2 Super Chat donation says McIntyre needs to be the Intercontinental Champion. I would not mind seeing that, and it very well could happen at some point. Mike Nixon says, whoa, Aaron turned heel for a second. Well, it's because I see people saying WWE needs to bring like the Attitude Era back, for instance, or WWE needs to get edgy again. And then when WWE does something even remotely edgy, you have people saying, oh, I'm offended. You know, you guys, this is out of line. And you know, all the people on Twitter, you know, the social justice warriors say, you know, this is wrong. What you guys are doing is morally wrong. See, that's the problem. People want to have one thing, but then they want something else that's the complete opposite. And that's, again, why Vince can do whatever he wants, basically, because the fans can't decide what they really want. Do they want an edgy product? Do they want a clean-cut product that's family-friendly? Do the fans know what they want? And that's been Vince's attitude for the longest time. His opinion is that the fans, they really don't know what they want, and Vince knows better than they do what they want. That has been his attitude for the longest time. And that's why he pushes John Cena. He pushes Roman Reigns, because the fans can't make up their mind as to what they want. They say they want the Attitude Era, but then they get offended over every little thing. If WWE does something even remotely controversial, they complain. So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. So anyways, that's my rant for Raw. I thought it was a great show. I really hope next week is great, but again, not getting my hopes up on it. Thank you guys for tuning in to tonight's NoDQ Live. I thought that this was one of the best live streams. I had a great time. I think it was a lot of fun. And I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. And maybe somebody out there became a fan of the channel. Maybe I lost some people. I don't know. But one thing you can always expect from NoDQ Live, I'm going to give you guys the fairest, best review possible. That's all I can do, and I will continue to keep doing that for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and if not, it is what it is. Sorry. On that note, I will see you guys tomorrow night for another edition of NoDQ Live. Tell your friends. We'll see how SmackDown Live goes. It's also going to be a loaded show. Big shows returning. Lots of things going down on SmackDown tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes, and I will see you guys tomorrow night for more.